All right, so let's hop over to Persona 3 Reload. Like I said earlier, I've played about like 12 and a half, 13 hours so far. I'm about to hit June, so.
I've played 2 hours.
Did you enjoy your 2 hours?
Okay, here's something I'm gonna say.
All right.
I'm gonna lead off. I'm gonna hop around a little bit here
Okay.
before I kind of jump into it, because initially, when you first start the game and it kind of goes through the opening cutscene, and everything for it, cutscene goes hard.
Yeah.
Because like 4 seconds into the cutscene almost, or it's like you kind of look out over the sky and then it immediately transitions to a girl holding a gun to her forehead saying, pull the trigger. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I'm going, man, they're just not fucking holding back.
Yeah, they're going all in.
Here's what I will say. When you were saying like, if Zach wanted to challenge you, he would have told you like 6 hours or something.
Yeah.
Does not surprise me, because the only reason I stopped playing the game was because I had to come over here.
Yeah, I mean, dude, time flies.
Because I will say, I was going to start playing it this morning, but it was weird. I downloaded it on my computer, and then I moved over to my recliner, and I wanted to play it on my Xbox, so I had to re-download it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then like I got distracted, like cleaning and doing other stuff today. So I didn't end up playing it much, but I think I'm probably gonna play this one more. I don't know what it is. Inherently, this game has grabbed me more so than like Persona 5 did.
Really? Okay. All right.
Just for in the first like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's been more enjoyable to me than Persona 5 was.
Right. And also for context for anyone listening, diehard Persona 5 fan, just getting into Persona for me. Light Persona fan. Our Persona fan of the show is not here today.
Yeah.
Our fan who owns the original Persona, has played the original Persona, is not here. We're light Persona fans, just for context.
My extent of Persona before this game came out is I've played about 25 hours of Persona 5.
Yeah.
And then kind of dropped it out of nowhere.
Right.
Went back to it, played it for probably 6 hours, and then something else came out that pulled me away from it.
Yeah. I also want to address something real quick, because I had this exact conversation with my girlfriend the other day. Someone said in chat, the fact that that's how they summon their personas is fucking wild in terms of shooting themselves, whatever. I had this exact conversation the other day because I'm the one that has like the legitimate like thought that goes through the head. Man, what if like some kids that aren't supposed to play this game plays this game, loves it, sees that, and shoots themselves in the head thinking they're going to summon Persona? Because that shit's real. I watched a case. I don't remember the YouTuber. I don't remember the kid's name, but there was that one YouTuber who like went psycho, murdered everyone at a grocery store, and then killed himself because he fell in love with Ember Moon from Danny Phantom, and he thought he was going to become a ghost girl. Like people can be like, they're impressionable. So like that was my first thought, like is like the fact that like they shoot themselves and that's how that is so wild to me.
I will say, because I
understand it's a product of its age and stuff.
Yeah, I will say, like, I assumed that was gonna be like cutscene story stuff. And like you see it the one time. I did not think that every time you activated a persona, like a skill from
that was my thought
using the persona, I did not think it was going to show a cutscene of them shooting themselves
every time. And also, shout out to this guy. Apparently, the story I just said happened 2 hours away from him, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about with that YouTuber. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's just like kids or like people like like they can be impressed. Or impressions can happen very easily, right? So that's my thought with this is like you see characters shooting themselves in the head nonstop, summoning personas. Like what if the wrong kid plays this? Which obviously they don't need to be playing it, but for God's sake, me and you were playing GTA San Andreas, getting a blowjob at like whatever age we were when that came out. It's just like, oh, well, that's happening, So it's I don't know. It's so wild to me that that's how we summon the persona. But they give fair warning going into the game, as they do all personas.
You get like 3 warnings before you make it to the main menu.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, as far as I am in the game, I've kind of just gotten free reign.
Right.
So like I've gone through your first entrance into, or like your first exploration of Tartarus, where you go through floor 1, and then I have I'm back to go again. And it's like that's where I got to.
So I think when I ended earlier, before I came out here to start getting the studio set up, I had just finished getting to floor, I think like 43, which is the end of the second block. Because I'm basically treating Tartarus like I would Palaces in P5R, where it's like the moment the game will let me just go, I am going until I can no longer go. Like basically until I can, send the calling card, or in this case, reach my blockade. Like once that's as far as I'm going. And one thing, I knew about this going in, but I completely forgot about it until I realized it wasn't there. Because again, I've never played P3. I know a little bit about it. One thing that's not in the game is the fatigue system, because I thought it was, because everyone was saying, oh, if you get really tired, go ahead and retreat. If you get really exhausted, go ahead and retreat and stuff. Fatigue system is just not in the game. Apparently that was a thing with P3P. Where like there is a fatigue bar that you will hit, and it's like you will have to probably retreat in the older games, to my understanding. So like that's just not in the game, so that makes it easier. So I'm cool with easier. I'm a baby. I just want to enjoy my game. Okay, I'm just here for a good time, not a hard time.
I will say, I'm gonna step back real quick, because like the essence of the game is our character's been transferred to a new school.
Yeah, yep.
And on your way to the dormitory, which also this dude either doesn't give a fuck, or he's the most oblivious person on the planet. Because as soon as you get control of your character, you're walking through, and it gets dark. There's coffins everywhere, like blood on the ground everywhere. You make it to your dormitory, and everybody kind of panics.
Yeah,
they're like, who are you? What are you doing here? How did you get here?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, bro, do you not see the blood on the ground? Like, what?
But yeah, apparently, the days have more than 24 hours. And once it hits midnight, you hit 0 hour or dark hour or whatever it's called. And during that time, normal people go to sleep in a coffin wherever they happen to be at.
Yeah, just kind of happens.
And then shadows and that come out. And kind of go after anybody that's there.
Yeah.
And certain people have the ability to withstand it and can summon personas, and you happen to be one of these people. And you join a group of people to explore a tower to try to figure out what the hell's going on. Mm. And that's kind of the essence of the game, as far as I am aware at this point.
As of where I'm at now, about to hit June 1st, yes, that's still the essence of the game. One of the funny things that I immediately noticed, and I get it, it goes back to when the game originally came out, But like as someone that's only experienced Persona through Persona 5 Royal, through 2 playthroughs, like almost 200 hours of gameplay, and then like 2 to 3 hours of Persona 4 Golden, like one of the first things that like caught my eye, how basic as shit our social links look, where it's just like, I would not have known you are a social link if it wasn't for the fact that when I talked to you, just exploring, you actually had a character art. If it wasn't for that, I would not have known, because you look like a basic ass character. Because it goes to like the ongoing joke with Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonists, where it's like, spot the protagonist, because it's just so clear. That's how P5R was. It's like, spot the important characters. Well, it's pretty easy to do.
P5R was kind of like, here's a gray or black silhouette, and then here's a fully rendered person.
Yes.
But yeah, exactly. No, it's like pretty much anytime I have the ability to explore and walk around, anybody that I see that has like a little exclamation or like a little dots above their head or something, I'm like, I'm going to go talk to them just to make sure I don't miss something.
Yeah. One thing that I already really like about this game, as playing for the first time, is I always love the little things in games, especially like throughout P5R. I love all the little stuff, because the gameplay is great and all that. That's fantastic. But like, it's kind of like how you were with Digimon Survive. You were more here for that. After a while, you're like, fuck the gameplay. I want to get into the other stuff. That's how kind of I am a lot with Persona stuff. One thing that I immediately, it's a little thing that I've noticed, is I love the personality on all the teachers, because like the teachers in P5R, it's like, besides, Kawakami, because she's a Link, obviously, like they don't really have a lot of personality. You have the guy that gets mad all the time and throws chalk at you. You got the other two characters, one who's a bitch and tries to out Kawakami all the time. The other guy's just there. Meanwhile, you have like this one dude with a samurai helmet. He's a teacher and actively says, man, this shit that I'm teaching you is irrelevant. I hate this stuff. I can't wait till we get to Sengoku. That shit's awesome. The Sengoku era, that's awesome. But I guess I have to teach you this, even though I hate this stuff. Like, just like them vocalizing from the class. I think this is irrelevant, but I have to. It's just funny to me. That's entertaining.
Then it's like your homeroom teacher who's like having to teach you about like literature and stuff, but she's like, you guys want to hear a poem instead?
Yeah, exactly. Like I love the personality. I love and that's not only for the teachers. That's just for the whole game. I love like the personality this game has because it's like I'm not saying it has a better personality than P5R. They both have incredible personality, but it has the personality that makes it feel different than P5R. I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just the personality flair that comes with this game makes me feel like this is a completely different game, as it should. You know what I mean? Every Persona game is its own entry, with the exception of, Innocent Sin, Eternal Punishments, like the same story from two different perspectives, but as it should. So that's again, as a newer Persona player, that's something that I love. Is like the personality feels so much different for all the characters. How you get into stuff feels so much different. Where with P5R, like once you're going through your flashback stuff, it's like one by one, people awaken their powers. It starts with you, then it's Ryuji, then it's on. You meet Morgana, whatever in between there, and it's just like boom, 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 and you're going. Meanwhile, this one's like you're in, and there's already two vets. There's already two vets, and there's already someone else who's basically in training with Yukari. Right? It's just a whole different approach, as a whole different kind of. And every Persona game feels different. From the couple hours I played for Golden, now this, and now P5R, all feels different as it should. It's all standalone entries, but like. That's like, as a newer Persona fan, that's something that I've immediately enjoyed about jumping into this game. I will be honest about one thing, though. While P3 music is incredible, I did buy the DLC and turn on P5R music because P5R music is so much better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the P3 purists in the world. Your music slaps, but P5R's music is better. And I am rocking that background music. I set that thing to random, and dude, some of those tracks slap. Because like the first major boss fight that I had to get on, I think Rivers in the Desert was the one that was playing, and it hit. I loved it. It was fantastic.
I don't know. Meanwhile, I'm sitting over here and I'm like, because a lot of times, like music in games, I don't notice it too much. I tend to turn sounds, like a lot of sounds and music down, and like I kind of try to even it out some. So sometimes that gets lost a little bit.
Yeah,
not always. It's like, but I will say, I don't know, man. I bet it's like the P3 soundtrack so far has been banging.
It's great. Don't get me wrong. I just love P5R soundtrack. One of my favorite video game soundtracks.
But yeah, I will say, as far as Persona 3 Reload, that's about all I got on it.
Yeah. No,
because I'm 2 hours in the game, I basically have a first impression, which is kind of where we've both kind of gone along the same lines of saying here. But yeah, I've got nothing more to add to it so far. I will say, for once, I actually do plan on continuing playing this game.
All right, shout out. Big difference from Persona 5. Diary of Defeat says, shout out to the cop who sells kids guns. True. There's the cop that sells the kids weapons. Shout out to that. P3R seems less handholdy. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that because P5 it just throws mechanic after mechanic after mechanic after mechanic after mechanic at you.
Yeah, I'm kind of hitting I've kind of hit the point where like even the game has told me, they're like, hey, because you have your person giving you all the information.
Yeah.
It's like after I assume when I go back into Tartarus the second time, they're not going to constantly be stopping me to tell me everything like they did the first time.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, as you hit further floors, you'll get a quick little thing, but it's just like, hey, just know this.
But
move
it's like,
on.
If that's the case, I'm perfectly fine with that because honestly, Persona 5R for like the first 3.5 hours of that game, you don't get to do anything by yourself.
That is true because, like, okay, so Persona 5R after P5 after my recent playthrough, probably a top 5 favorite game of all time. I love this game so much, but when I first tried to play it when it got added to Game Pass, I only made it into like 2 hours of that game, and I put it down for like I think almost 2 months before I picked it back up randomly and then completely dove in because of that exact thing.
Yeah,
where it's like hours of like holding your hand to get started.
Yeah, because I'm probably an hour and 45, somewhere around that time. little under 2 hours. And the game has basically told me, figure it out.
Basically.
It's like, go do your thing. You know as much as we do now.
Yeah. A couple other things that I thought was interesting, and you know, again, I understand older game, is that one thing that I thought was interesting is like when it comes to all your companions, not like let's say like Junpei, whatever, and Ariko, they don't have social links. They're just there. They're just friends to hang out with. I thought that was interesting because it's like you have all these like basic ass looking nobodies that are social links, right? Like, you know, like the magician dude or whatever. Like they all look like, again, I would not have known they were a social link if it wasn't for the fact when I talked to them when I first got to the school and it gave them a picture and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you're an important character. But like Junpei and I, like you can hang out with them. They'll hit you up. Like Junpei will hit you up at some point in May. She's like, hey, we haven't really hung out. Let's go hang out. And it's like you can experience their story as you would with a confidant in P5R, but they're not actually a social link. I just thought that was interesting. And I don't know much about P3P, but I'm curious if you pick the female protagonist, do they then have social links? I'm very, and like, does like Yuriko and Mitsuri, like, do they not? I don't know. I'm very curious about that.
Okay, granted, I don't know a whole lot about the social link system because I didn't play a whole lot of any other Persona game. I'm wondering if that's the case because, like this kind of like, it's the group as the whole.
Yeah, the full. The full is the whole group.
It's the whole
yeah,
group.
I thought that was
so
interesting too.
It's not individual people
Yeah.
that you have to. It's like as long as you're doing stuff
With
as
the
a group, you're good.
Yeah, see, I thought that was interesting too when I got
Which
the
I
full.
will say, I've now that you say that like you don't have to do it individually with people, I'm like, that's nice. It's like, you know, it's like because it's like we're gonna be fucking doing shit the entire game together. Don't make me have to go do extra shit.
Yeah. Another thing that I like personally is less social stats to raise. Love that. There's only 3. That's great. Love that. Because my first playthrough of P5R is not knowing what the hell to do took me forever to max these things out. So I missed out on so much content in my first playthrough because like I was trying to grind to get the damn stat for it. And I understand like, you know, for people that are like, you know, pros at these games, they're going to be like, dude, it's so easy. It's like, yeah, you've been doing it. I didn't know what to do.
I still don't have a fucking clue how to do any of it.
Yeah, like my
this,
second playthrough is when I got to experience a lot of content that I missed in the first game.
It's like me playing through this. It's like I know there's stats that I have to raise, and I know that doing certain things, it's like I know that I've answered questions correctly.
Yeah.
In class, which I'm smart, by the way.
Good job.
I have not missed one yet.
I'm proud of you.
But yeah, it's like I know that answering questions gives you different stat boosts, and like talking to people gives you different stat boosts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't have a fucking clue how to raise them outside of that.
Yeah, like jobs, playing video games, go to the arcade, go eat at the ramen place by the strip mall right by your dorm. Go eat there. Go eat the burger place. Well, once you get money, go eat at the ramen place. Okay,
I'm broke.
It can boost your academics.
I went shopping for equipment, and
that breaks you.
And I came out with a little bit of money, and I played the crane game.
Yeah, you would play the crane game. This son of a bitch, man, like he with his old truck, his entire dash was nothing but stuff he won from crane games.
Yeah, I had too much
piled.
I had to swap them out all the time because I there was too much stuff I couldn't see.
Man, shout out to your old truck. What was it called? Was it Onyx?
I don't know. It's been so long.
I named your car Thor, but you disagree with that one.
I couldn't have even told you that.
Yeah, sleeping in class raises your strength somehow. True. If you choose to sleep in class, that'll raise your courage. Whatever.
If you stay awake, it raises your knowledge.
Yeah, it raises your knowledge. So
I've done both. I did the sleeping the first time because I was like, well, they just talked to me about it. I might as well try it.
Yeah.
And then the next time I was like, well, do I get anything if I stay awake?
Yeah, exactly. Another thing also, anytime you go to Tartarus, the next day, go visit the nurse's office. You get a free courage boost because he gives you some medicine because you're tired. So free courage boost every time you come back from Tartarus. Keep that in mind. But yeah, just there's lots of ways to do it, which is great because like I'm already about to hit June, and I'm already halfway for all 3 because the max is 6, and I'm at 3 for all 3, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot better progress than it was for me my first playthrough of P5R. This is great. This is fantastic. I'm loving it. But no, like 12 and a half hours in for me, about to hit June. I am so hooked. Like I was hooked almost immediately just based off the vibe. You know what I mean? The vibe alone, like, all right, I'm in.
I would say, like, this game grabbed me much quicker than P5 did.
Yeah.
Which is also funny because it also hooked me kind of during the same like okay, we're gonna hold your hand and walk you through so that you understand what's happening and you don't get lost immediately before we unleash you to do whatever the fuck you want in a game that you don't understand.
True.
And it's like even during that period, I'm like, I don't know. It's like I don't know if it's probably not the character. It's probably just the vibe, like you said. The vibe of the game it resonates with me better.
Right. I'm very excited just to completely kind of get further because, like, again, already stressed it. Love P5R, top 5 favorite game of all time. Any sort of list I ever see of ranking Persona games, like a general list, people always put P3 at number 1 and P5R at 2. So I'm like, I am so ready for this. Like I had such high expectations coming into this game because of that sort of narrative that I've always seen, and so far it is absolutely hitting my expectations. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I am excited to continue playing it. I will say I'm gonna go ahead and let you know right now.
All right.
I am not committing to beating this game.
I know.
And playing through it.
I know how John works.
Here's what I will tell you.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything on the horizon that I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
At least until around the March. There may be some in February that I'm not thinking of.
So like, let me pull up my calendar real quick.
But
because I think so. The only other games that I have, but I'm not going to get this month, is on the 13th. Banisher's Ghost of New Eden comes out. I'm looking forward to that one, but I'm probably not going to get it. I will also be out of town for work, so I definitely probably won't get it.
Yeah, it's like
we have Skull and Bones on the 16th. John, you want to play Skull and Bones?
I mean, I'm probably gonna play it, but it's like there's Helldivers 2, but that's not a game that's gonna pull me away if I jump into. That's more of gonna be I jump into and I have some fun every now and then.
Yeah.
But then Skull and Bones, which I'll probably try. But then honestly, I'm like it's not until the end of the month.
Yeah, so the 16th, Skull and Bones. The 28th, got Brothers, a Tale of Two Sons remake, which, that's one that I'll pick up down the road. Now, the next game that I'm definitely picking up day one for me, Unicorn Overlord. Also Atlas game, coming out on the 8th. I'm looking forward to that one.
I'm saying end of the month. I'm thinking end of March.
Yeah, because
which is also funny because end of the month is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I'll end up playing at some point, but it's not I am not the rest of the world that is super excited and can't wait for this game to come out.
I haven't even played Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I haven't beat it.
I know you haven't.
Well, I think I've played most of it, but it's like it was also like it's fine.
Right. But I don't know. Bottom line about P3R though, it's fantastic. It's on Game Pass. You should try it. There you go.